Cain can hear everything. He just can't move. He can't scream. He can't warn anyone. He can't stop what's coming next. And the most terrifying part, the man who did this to him isn't hiding anymore. Gent Sidwell is talking. And what he just revealed could destroy Willow, expose the PCPD, and unmask someone fans never thought to question. Because if Sidwell is telling the truth, then there's a traitor inside the police department. And his name might be Nathan West. Drew's world is silent on the outside. To Port Charles, he looks like a man who suffered a devastating stroke, a tragic medical emergency, a heartbreaking twist of fate. But inside that motionless body, Drew is fully aware, fully conscious, fully trapped. And the only person enjoying that fact is Gent Sidwell. In the February 26 episode of General Hospital, Sidwell finally decided to explain himself. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He stood over Drew like a villain savoring his victory, laying out every calculated move that led to this moment, every manipulation, every step, every betrayal. And one detail stood out above all the rest. Sidwell said he had inside information. Inside the PCPD. Let that sink in. Because that means this isn't just a crime. It's a conspiracy. According to Sidwell, it started when he began digging into Willow Cain's case. He claimed that through his informants inside the Port Charles Police Department, he became convinced that Willow was the one who shot Drew. Not a guess. Not a theory. A conviction. He had access to evidence. Trial details. Police intel. And that's what gave him the confidence to approach Willow with a chilling offer. Access to a paralytic drug. A drug powerful enough to mimic a stroke. A drug that could silence Drew without killing him. And shockingly, Willow agreed. Take a second to process that. Willow, the soft-spoken nurse, the devoted mother, the woman who has fought so hard for her family, allegedly partnered with Sidwell. Not only to cover up a shooting, but to keep Drew locked inside his own body. That's not panic. That's planning. And Sidwell made it clear she was on board. But here where things get darker. Because none of this would have been possible without someone feeding Sidwell information from the inside. And there aren't many people at the PCPD who would have had access to that level of evidence. Which brings us to a name no one wants to say out loud. Nathan West. Let's rewind. Nathan was deeply involved in Drew's case. He worked alongside Dante Falconry, he had access to evidence, he was present when incriminating traffic cam footage was reviewed, footage that pointed directly at Willow. Nathan saw it. Nathan knew what it meant. And if Sidwell suddenly became convinced Willow was guilty right around that time, then someone had to tip him off. Someone close to the investigation. Someone who could leak sensitive information without raising alarms. Nathan fits too well. And here, the unsettling truth, there isn't exactly a long list of officers who had access to everything. DNA proof. Matching fingerprints. The missing corpse. Trial details. Nathan was in possession. And what if that wasn't a coincidence? What if Nathan wasn't just helping the investigation? What if he was controlling it? Think about this carefully. Sidwell isn't the kind of man who acts without leverage. He stays steps ahead. He anticipates moves. He manipulates from the shadows. So, information. He needs eyes inside the system. And if Nathan has been positioned at the PCPD to serve exactly that purpose, then this storyline just shifted from shocking to explosive. Because what if the man wearing Nathan West's badge isn't entirely the Nathan fans remember? There have been moments, subtle ones, a look that lingered too long, a reaction that felt slightly off, a detachment that didn't sit right. Longtime viewers know Nathan. He was loyal, protective, emotionally grounded. But lately, there's something colder there, almost calculated. And that opens the door to something even more disturbing. What if this isn't just corruption? What if it's identity manipulation? We can't ignore the shadow looming over this storyline. Cesar Faison, Ross Cullum, the mysterious final project. General Hospital has teased mind control, memory transfers, and twisted experiments before. And what if Nathan is somehow connected to that legacy? What if the man walking around with Nathan's memories isn't entirely him? That might sound extreme, but this is Port Charles, and the signs are there. Let's talk about the night Laura Collins found Professor Henry Hank Dalton in her trunk. It was chaotic, disturbing, and strangely timed. Because who just happened to show up in that secluded area? Nathan. Why was he there? What was he doing in such an isolated location at exactly that moment? Coincidence? Or orders? Because if Sidwell wanted Dalton planted, blackmail photos secured, or Laura rattled, having a trusted police presence on scene would be a strategic move. And Nathan's arrival felt too perfect. Almost staged. Was he gathering evidence? Or controlling it? Was he protecting Laura? Or intimidating her? And what about Sonny Corinthos? Sidwell has always had his eyes on Sonny. What better way to destabilize Port Charles than by planting fear inside its most powerful figures? And if Nathan was operating under Sidwell's direction, then the threat is much closer than anyone realizes. Now circle back to Drew. Locked in. Helpless. Aware. Sidwell wanted him conscious. He wanted Drew to hear the truth, to understand how deeply he'd been outplayed. And in that twisted confession, Sidwell confirmed something critical. He has police informants. Plurals. That means even if Nathan isn't the only one, he's still a prime suspect. And the longer this goes on, the more dangerous it becomes. Because once the truth starts unraveling, it won't just implicate Willow. It will expose cracks in the entire system. The PCPD's credibility, Dante's trust, Laura's leadership. Everything is on the lines. And here's the scariest part. If Nathan is involved, then every move the cops make could already be known. Every warrant, every search, every arrest. Sidwell could be anticipating it all. Which means the heroes of Port Charles are fighting blind. But let's not ignore Willow in all of this. Sidwell claimed she was receptive. He said she agreed. He implied partnerships. But was she manipulated? Cornered? Threatened? Or is there a darker layer to Willow that fans haven't fully seen? Because agreeing to drug Drew to keep him paralyzed isn't a small step. That's a moral cliff. And once you jump, there's no climbing back. Unless someone exposes the truth first. And if Nathan is the leak, then the clock is ticking. Because once suspicions turn toward the PCPD, someone will start asking the right questions. And when that happens, Sidwell might decide his informant is more useful, silenced. This storyline is building toward something massive. We have a conscious victim trapped in his own body. A villain confidently revealing police corruption. A beloved character potentially betraying everything she stood for. And a decorated officer who may not be who he seems. General Hospital spoilers promise more shockers are coming. Sidwell isn't finished talking. And the more he reveals, the closer Port Charles gets to an explosion that will change alliances forever. So here's the question no one wants to answer. If Nathan West is truly feeding Sidwell information, is he doing it willingly? Or is he part of something much bigger, something tied to Faison's final experiment? And if Drew ever finds a way to communicate the truth, who will believe him? Because once the mask slips inside the PCPD, trust won't just be broken, it'll be shattered. Do you think Nathan is Sidwell's informant? Or is General Hospital setting us up for an even bigger twist? Drop your theories in the comments because this one is far from over. And if you want daily, dramatic General Hospital updates delivered with all the twists, secrets and shocking reveals, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. Port Charles is about to explode.